natives, like, we don't do like self-care. So like, what's meditation? Like, what's, painting? Like, what's a hobby? Like, we don't do that stuff.
Welcome back to REZponse Roundtable. In today's video, we talk about how we function as modern day matriarchs, and this video is dedicated to the amazing Indigenous women who got us where we are today and taught us all of these things that we know. So I hope you enjoy, and remember to like, subscribe, and share. Bye.
So my mom's half Hopi, half Mojave. And it's so funny because she is one of those people where, Raquel, where you're mentioning, like, they just provide, and they're very selfless people. They take care of their family. They like run off zero sleep, and kind of absorb all the energy from everybody else and kind of takes it on as her own. That's my mom. And I always want to go provide for her. And she's like, we tease her because they're like, you're really real Hopi, mom, because like she's cooking, she's cleaning, she's like, all over the place. So when it comes to me living in the city, my brothers always say, you don't even have your Hopi side, you're just real Mojave. Go cook, go clean. I'm like, God, you're just lazy, they'll tell me. But it's funny because I always get all the slack from my aunties from my Hopi side, and they give me the chores and the tasks of what they would give somebody that's like 12 years old, a young girl that's 12. But I'm like grown-ass woman doing all the 12-year-old chores because I don't cook, I don't know how to make bread, I don't know how to do like all the things, right, that I'm supposed to be doing according to that side. And yeah, so I always feel very uncomfortable when I go back home to Palaka, because I'm always like, what am I gonna do? Like, where are they gonna put me? What kind of shame am I gonna get today?
Yeah, that's kind of like us too. Like, it's I think it's like kind of like instilled in us when we were little. You can't be lazy, you're not supposed to be lazy. Like my mom, same thing. She's like, she cannot sit still. Like, she'll sit down for like 5 minutes and then she's up again doing something. She's like always finding something, doesn't matter what it is. She just has to keep going. And like when I go home, I'm like afraid to just sit down because I know she's gonna get after me, like, get up and do something. Even like when I'm like my grandma's, same thing. You really don't want to be lazy around your grandparents because you're gonna get in trouble. So it's like, you try to find stuff to do, and I guess it's just that thing. You can't be lazy. You got to do something all the time.
No, yeah, I remember my grandma was alive, and that's because she raised me too. So like growing up, like we're like putting up sheetrock downstairs at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Like, come on, wake up! You can't sleep in, like the whole thing. And I mean, most of the times my brother just sat and played video games for hours. He didn't have to help us build half the house. But then like when she was still alive, and I would like go and stay with her, for during my breaks during college when I was working. And I would get there and it's like, okay, get up and do this. Oh, go do this. And I'm like, Grandma, I just came home to like relax. She's like, no, you gotta help me do this. You gotta help me do this. Like, it just was not in her. It was not like a thing for her to, and until she found her favorite shows on Netflix, like Shameless. She's the one who got me into Shameless, and this one time I went home and we binged like a whole season of Shameless.
Grandma watched Shameless? Get out of here.
She loved it. Oh my gosh. And she loved the cooking show with Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart. I was like, one of your favorites too. And so once she got that, then I was like, okay, now this is a way I can like just relax with my grandma. So that was one way, but without that, like, she would have been just like doing these things all the time. So yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, definitely the part about getting up early too. Like, that's something with us. Like, you have to be up early. There's no such thing as sleeping in. And I've gotten in trouble with that a few times.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like this old, and my mom's still getting after me, like, get up. You're not supposed to sleep in.
When my parents are here, because they've been visiting a lot lately, so they've been staying at my place, like, I have to wake up before my mom gets up. So I'm like 5 in the morning, I'm awake, like, I gotta go make a coffee, I gotta go put coffee on the coffee pot, I gotta start breakfast, Oh, she's gonna do it, but
That's like the toughest thing too. It's like, because my mom, like, I'm literally almost 30 and she still like yells at me. Raquel, why didn't you do this? Ah, she was like texting me like big or like calling me and stuff like that. I'm like,
Texting me big.
it's like, I'm an adult. Like, I want to tell her, like, I'm an adult. Like, why are you yelling at me still? So, yeah, I don't know. But she always, like, I don't know. And that's how, I think, like, my grandma used to be really, really hard on me. But, like, as I got older, like, she started, I think she has dementia right now. So, like, she forgets, like, who I am. Not who I am sometimes. Like, sometimes she'll get me mixed up with my siblings.
Okay.
But, like, she's really, really nice. And, like, she doesn't like yell at me like she used to. So I think, I don't know, that's the only thing that I guess like the good thing to look at is like she doesn't yell at me anymore, but she used to always yell at me like about to clean up after myself or something. So
Good time.
I feel like I now like because I like live alone and I have my own like lifestyle and I don't live by my family, and so I feel like now I'm like catching up on all the sleep I didn't get as a kid. So like I do sleep in, and I do sometimes like I don't cook, and then I will like not clean my room, and then it's like, oh my gosh, it's like I'm still relaxing from being told to do all these things. So like
All those years.
yeah, but like it's funny though when we're raised like that.
Okay, so I want to take a quick moment to reflect. If you notice, all four of us ladies share similar childhood experiences. We witnessed some strong Indigenous women, some strong Indigenous matriarchs, grandmas, mamas, and aunties that have taught us some value systems that we're carrying through with us to our womanhood. And you heard like, you know, some of the things like you can't sleep in, you have to wake up, don't be lazy. Our mamas are still getting after us even though we're grown. But I think, you know, what you'll hear coming up is like us trying to figure out how to be a modern day matriarch. And basically what we define that as is trying to figure out how to implement what we've learned into what we want to be today. So I don't know the answers, but basically you'll hear us talk about how we feel about it. All right, thanks.
I think it's funny because like, okay, so the thing I've been struggling with lately is like self-care, like getting a life and like doing something for myself. Because like, okay, so my boyfriend Desmond is like really, really big in the gym, and so when he leaves, like I don't know what to do. Like I literally just like sit here until he gets back because I'm like, I don't know, like I don't, because I'm always like taking care of somebody. So like when he gets home, like, oh, let me make you dinner, let me cook, like let me clean up after you or whatever, and like I'm just like behind him, like picking up his stuff. And then like when he leaves, he's like, bae, like do something, like quit following me or whatever. I'm like, I don't know what to do though. Like I've always done that. So, and even like he asked me like whenever I got here, he was like, why do you just like sit in your, like why do you just sit down, or like why don't you have any like hobbies and stuff like that? And it's like, because when I'm home, like I'm taking care of the kids, I'm driving my siblings places, like I have people to take care of. But like here in the city, like I have my dogs, yeah, but like I don't have any kids. Like I don't know what to do if I'm not taking care of somebody. So I'm just kind of like sitting, because like natives, like we don't do like self-care. So like what's meditation, like what's, you know, painting, like what's a hobby, like we don't do that stuff because like we're always taking care of everybody. So I think like I do read and I do like film and like work and stuff like that, but it's like doing something that's other than like work and taking care, like I don't know how to do it. It makes me feel so uncomfortable because I'm like, oh my god, like can I do this? Like am I allowed to love myself and take care of myself?
Yeah,
that's true. Huh.
So cute. We're all like, yeah.
Because like I started like recently I started like going to get massages, facials, you know, get my manicure, pedicure, and it just felt like so weird doing it, but it's like, you know, I deserve this. So I mean it's still really weird like doing it, but then it's kind of nice. I guess the whole self-care, I think I know what you mean.
It's so funny. I think when I first started doing self-care, because I do everything that Lynette does, when I first started doing, I felt kind of like guilty. Like,
yeah.
Man, I don't think I should be doing this. I should give this to my mom, you know, like, but I felt really guilty. I still kind of do sometimes. Like I always think about, I should take my sister or I should take my mom with me, you know?
Yeah.
But it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I'm in social work, like it's part of our profession to practice self-care. We talk about it in every single class, and I'm like, I have my bachelor's in social work and my master's in social work, and I still struggle so much with self-care. And like for some people, you know, though, they're like, oh well, you do this and you do this, and I'm like, yeah, but like for me, and it's the hard thing with self-care is until you make it a routine and until you're consistent with it, you like really don't know if it's really working, because there's so many different types of self-care. So it's like you really have to invest your time into like figuring out what works for you. And I think that's hard, especially when we're in these lifestyles of like we're just go 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 go, and we're like so used to just always like filling our time up with stuff like that. Like when you have that time to like not doing, like okay, let me, like, what did that one person tell me to do when I don't have anything to do? Like, what's gonna help my mind? Okay, yeah. And like, or like I remember, and I used to be consistent with meditating because it really helps with my anxiety, but like now I just do it randomly, especially when I'm like really feeling anxious, I'll meditate. But I remember when I first started doing it and I'm like, how do I even meditate? Like I don't know how to do this. And even to this day, like I know I'm like sorry, because I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm anxious, okay, I gotta meditate, and I shouldn't be like doing it consistently so that I just don't get anxious. But it's like, no, it's like taking a pill for me, like, okay, let me go do this really quick, let's hope it helps. But like, yeah, being consistent on it is really, really hard. And I feel like I kind of have like things that I do that help me with self-care. And I think it's easier for me because I am not like in close vicinity with my family, so I can have those routines easier. But it's, yeah, guilt is like a huge,
yeah.
I like feel so guilty. Like, it's so hard. So I'm like, I should be doing something, but it's like, no, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe not. I don't know.
You guys have Audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so download Blake Griffin. It's called The Pursuit of Wellness, or The Pursuit of Healthiness. The Pursuit of Healthiness. So he has his own podcast, and it's just basically talking about all these different aspects of being a healthier person. And he has the person like the expert on sleep and like how to get good rest and like things that you could do to get sleep.
Yeah, like good people on here.
There's what?
A lot of good people, like a lot of all these
Oh,
episodes.
yeah. Are you seeing it? And then I just listened to one on meditation with what's his name? Chopra? I don't know how to say it. Is it?
Deepak Chopra?
Uh-huh. So it was on meditation, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Maybe I'll meditate.
That's what I want to start doing, is like meditating. I've like been having some really hard time sleeping lately. I don't know if it's just like, I know it has to do with like my allergy symptoms, and then like I think it's also like anxiety too. I don't know, I think I might have insomnia. I'm not a doctor, but
you should listen to those things. The guy was like talking like all these things about how your brain functions and like how to wind down before bed and stuff like that. Like things that I didn't think would cause me not to sleep well, or things that all the things I do before I go to sleep.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing about meditation that I found in like my journey with meditating is that there's all these like expectations, but like there is a lot of expectations of like how you're supposed to do it, or how long you do it, or what are you supposed to accomplish when you meditate. And I think that's like, it's so that I feel like that causes a lot of barriers for people to actually be able to use it for their own health. And for me, especially when I did like a little meditation series with all my high school kids last summer, and it was really funny to see them like try to be quiet for literally, I had them do it for 3 minutes, and it was so funny to watch them, because like I would just guide them through it, but I would like watch them like really try to like focus, you know. And for me, because it's really like, people say like, oh, clear your mind, but that's like super extremely hard sometimes, especially if you have like anxiety, right? And so I always tell them like, it's okay if you if you can't like get to where your mind is completely clear, but it's important to acknowledge and be conscious of your thoughts of why you can't clear your mind, because then the more conscious you are of like what thoughts you're thinking, then the easier it will be to clear your mind. Those thoughts are important to like for you to get to a successful meditation session. If you're instantly expecting that and it doesn't happen, then you're not using it for your own individual health. And so I think that's the big thing about like that I always hear about meditation is that it's always like misconstrued or not.
I just sent you guys the app.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think that was like the 3rd episode. I forget the guy's name, the creator's name of this app.
Okay. But you can literally do it for 3 minutes a day, like, and it'll change the way you think. Like, I promise you, like 3 minutes a day, like you can start there. That's what I was telling those kids. I'm like, literally just take 3 minutes. And I say that, but I like don't do it every day. But
well,
like
the one tip that one of the person says is do it when you're doing something that you do every day. So she recommended doing it when you're brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
So try it like to implement gratefulness or meditation while you're brushing your teeth.
Or just be mindful, of like your thought process or
like, I could do that because I always think like I don't have enough time. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I think of whenever, I think it was like 3 years ago, I got really, really into meditation. Or was it 3 years ago? Maybe 2 years ago. I was really into it. I did it every single day. But like that was around the time where my anxiety was so bad that I would actually like, I'm not a smoker, but like I like went out and like got a cigarette and like smoked. And like I never grew up on smoking. Like I did it like here and there. Like whenever I was like at the Rez party, it's like I would maybe like have one here or there, but I was never like a smoker. Like I was just like trying to be cool and like smoke or whatever. But like but I went out during that time and like I smoked and I was like, oh my god, that feels so nice. But then I was like, this is not who I am. I'm not gonna just start smoking. Like I'm not gonna kill myself. And so I started meditating, and like at the time, like it felt like smoking a cigarette, like the same feeling. And so like I kept doing it and like I don't know why I stopped, but then I quit. But like eventually, like because I quit, like a couple years later I started smoking again, just because like that's what I think. Like the thing that sucks about smoking, like a lot of cigarette smokers will say that like, oh, smoking gets rid of stress, but it doesn't. Like it doesn't actually get rid of stress. They're just like, that's the thought that like triggers, like that's what they're trained to think, but really like smoking doesn't actually get rid of stress. So but now like, well, I don't meditate like as much, but I do like pray and stuff like that. So like kind of quit like for a while and just like breathe, like deep breathing. I'll stop for like maybe 3 minutes and just like breathe, and like that really helps because like I need to slow down sometimes and I get kind of overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So.
No, for sure.
Maybe
no, that makes total sense.
Maybe we should all try meditation and report back next week. Download the app.
Make a promise that we'll do it every day for at least 3 minutes.
While we brush our teeth.
Always brush your teeth.
Well, I don't brush my teeth every day. No, I'm just kidding.
You're like, that's not gonna work for me. You're like, I'll meditate while I'm smoking my cigarette.
Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe, and if you haven't seen last week's episode, be sure to check it out.